Welcome back, everyone. Tonight, we're focusing our attention on the Plateau State massacre, which has been on the front burner since Christmas Eve. And sadly, when some Nigerians were celebrating Christmas, some others were counting their losses, including lives and property. Almost 200 lives were lost when gunmen attacked 25 communities in 3 local government areas of Plateau State. So many questions have been asked, most of them unanswered. But ultimately, for how long shall this continue? Tonight, Comrade Musa Otiba, Director General and National Coordinator, North Central Development Initiative, and Dr. Tony Ofoyetan, Director General, International Institute of Professional Security, are on the program with me tonight. Gentlemen, Happy New Year to you, and thank you so much for joining us on Politics Tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you too. And of course, Happy New Year to Nigerians.
Right. So
perhaps we should start. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you too. Perhaps we should start this conversation by taking stock of what 2023 looked like for the people of Plateau State. I mean, statistics show that between April and July, no fewer than 346 persons were killed in 8 local government areas of the state, while about 18,751 internally displaced persons were recorded in 14 camps. More findings also revealed that 75 additional persons died in violent attacks on the plateau between July and October, and almost 200 persons were killed alone in December. My question to you first is, what exactly do you think is going on? Dr. Ofoyetan, you can go first.
Much, and thank you for having me. What actually is going on? I think that is one question that many Nigerians, including the indigenes of Plateau State, have not been able to answer. But from my own understanding, I think 2 things I can deduce from it. Many a times we hide under the cloud of Fulani cattle rearers and farmer headers conflict and all those stuff like that. But having understood the terrain to some extent and seeing that this is an unabated and many a times too unprovoked assault, I think the issue of a farmer header clash should actually be jettisoned now. It is no longer a pacifying argument. Rather, I see 2 things. I see the agitation for land, expansion or acquisition of land. I also see resources, the drive to harness the resources of states. Because if you look at what is happening all over the country, you will see that strategically, some of these states that have been attacked incessantly are states that are endowed in terms of mineral resources. And if you also observe the fact that it seems to be such unabated assault to the extent that even the high and the mighty in the country, as it were now, seemingly are helpless. Not because they are helpless, but because, to me, they choose to be helpless. We've seen a lot of situations that tells us that it's a matter of choice. Because if we place high premium and value on lives, and we are able to jettison some of the factors that are encouraging this incessant attack, definitely by now, we will not be talking about any attack, especially in places like Plateau State or Benue State and the like. And the reason is simply because in those states, they are not naturally known as being restive states, as it were. But unfortunately, either because of land or because of natural resources. Don't forget that Plateau State is very rich when it comes to uranium, extremely rich in uranium. And I'm sure you know the market value of uranium at international market. Now the question is, who are those that are arming these terrorists? Who are those that are funding their attacks? Who are those that are backing and shielding them from prosecution and from arrest? Who are those actually that are looking the other way around when intelligence is saying that there's most likely going to be attack in such communities? Now you look at the last attack, about 17 villages attacked within a day or thereabout, and then even the military formation came out to say, we got information, but because of the topography, because of the terrain, we could not access those areas. some of us see it as lazy man's argument. I'm sorry to use that phrase, lazy man's argument, because, and the reason is simply not necessarily because of what we have presently in terms of the military, whatever, but because over the years, you would have understood the topography of that area. You would have also understand the terrain as it were, because it's not a forced attack. It's a perpetual one. But unfortunately, as we see today, we see a situation where it's becoming a recurring decimal. If you also look at the signature of the terrorists in this country, you would have observed that within festive period or days before festive period or immediately after festive period, there had always been attack here and there. And they will always want, once they are also new service chiefs, they also want to establish their supremacy and or their power or their ability to also be able to face such whatever. So they want to pass a message to the new service chiefs and the like. So you now see them coming out to come and launch such attacks and the like. So we expected that we would have been able to see things like a crime prediction or crime forecast. We would have been able to see, a situation where the military formation and security agencies are proactive and the like. But the question is always, who at any point in time in the military or in the security agency compromised intelligence that we continually have, such casualty in Jos, in Plateau, in Zamfara, in Kaduna, in Borno? I think this is a question that we have to demystify.
Right. Thank you, Doctor. Now, comrade, let me come to you. You heard Dr. Ofoyetan. As a stakeholder from the North, and following this latest massacre of about 200 people from Plateau State, why always Plateau State?
Well, thank you very much. That question is a question that even the people from Plateau State cannot categorically say they have answer to it. Why Plateau State? Why always Plateau State? If you look at the history of attacks, on the Plateau, it has been since the creation of the state. When Plateau State was Benue Plateau, until the military administration of General Yakubu Gowon, separated Plateau from Benue Plateau then and made it a Plateau State. There have always been attacks from jihadists, insurgent group, the Boko Haram, and communal crisis, ethnic crisis. In 2008, I think we have more than 380 people killed within the first 3 weeks of the month of March or April in 2008. Then from that time till now, there have always been attacks on the Plateau. In the year 2022, from January to December, there has never been a month that passed by without people being attacked and killed in these local governments of Bariki-Ladi, Mangu, Rion, Bokos, and Bassa local government of Plateau State. The question is, why the attack? What do we intend to achieve, by attacking and killing people? And unfortunately, we have not been able to identify the people behind this attack. That is my major concern. And that is the concern of my group, the North Central Development Initiative. And that's why we're coming up, this time around, after this last devastating attack on December 24th, that enough is enough. This attack must be brought to an end by all means, by all standards. Whoever is involved, whatsoever is the cause, the attack must come to an end now. Because, again, if you look at it, what is happening in Plateau is not also different from what you see in other parts of the North Central region and Nigeria as a whole. Today, as we speak, this morning, I got a report that, in either local government area of Kogi State. A woman and her son and another person that came to visit her were burnt alive right in their house by unknown attacker. That they put petrol in the house and set the house on fire. And this is a house that is in a community. You will ask yourself, are people not living in that community? Where do these attackers come from? Can you say that it's the Fulani herdsmen that come to set the house on fire and burn people in the house? The answer is obviously no. So what we're saying is that those people who are, who take delight in this attack, I see them as enemies of the state. They just want to make sure that there is no peace in the land. They just want to frustrate the effort of government and the effort of security agencies to send a message to the outside world and even to the people of Nigeria that this country is not habitable, that this country is not a place that is conducive for living or for doing business. And we want the government to do whatever it can to put a stop to these incessant attacks and killing of innocent Nigerians.
All right. Dr. Ofoyetan, let me come to you. I mean, at different times, we've heard different descriptions of who exactly these people are. At the time, the governor came out to say these are foreign mercenaries. And recently, we heard some of the victims saying these are locals. Do you think it is really hard identifying who these people are? Or why do you think it is this hard identifying who these people are?
Well, let me start by saying that it is not hard to identify who they are. In most cases, what the terrorists and the criminals will do is to confuse the narratives. And by what I mean by confusing the narratives is, okay, you've been able to identify the fact that these people are foreigners, in quotes. Now, to now confuse, we can recruit locals that are greedy to execute one or two jobs and put them in public glare to show that it's not only foreigners, so to say. For me, it's a combination of all. It's a combination of the locals and it's a combination of foreigners. But it is predominantly and well orchestrated and masterminded by foreigners. Now, when I say foreigners, I'm not even talking of non-Nigerians now. I'm talking of Nigerians that are in well-placed positions, that can take decisions and can also block decisions. Now, if you look at what is happening in Plateau State, you will agree with me that in view of the incessant and unabated attack in Plateau State, it simply means that there are people that are in power or in corridor of power that are able to take certain decisions, especially the political class as it is now, not even the security agencies. Among the security agencies, you can have moles, you can have compromise, you can have, espionages and the like, well enshrined and embedded among them, to be able to give them first-hand information and to also frustrate some strategically planned attacks and all those stuff like that. But the bulk of the OT stops on the political table. Who are those that are supposed to take political decisions as far as, taking decisive decisions about Plateau states that have not done that over the years? And it is not just a Plateau state affair. It is a well-orchestrated northern terrorist attack, well organized. And if you ask me, I will tell you it's a combination of many things. You have the jihadists who are interested in religion, interested in propagating their own religion. Then you also have those political class who are using these mercenaries as political tools. You have national and international greedy political class also who are interested in mineral resources. And the mineral resources of all these richly endowed states like Zamfara, like Kaduna State, like even Plateau State and the like, harnessing their resources while causing confusion and restiveness in this state. And while those are going on, what are they busy doing? They are busy harnessing those resources and selling them out of the country. It takes the participation and the assistance of local political class to be able to help those international bodies, companies and organizations to do what? To mine our resources and send them out of the country. Now, this is also a narrative out of it. So you look at it, it's a combination of many factors that we cannot say that absolutely one is out of it. Now, it involves a lot of factors. The ones you don't want to hear, religion, the one you want to hear, politics, the other one, land, the other ones, greedy resources and all those stuff like that. Now, I expect that, what I expect is the military, especially the intelligence agency, should look at all the narrative without leaving anyone, without saying that one is not there or one is remote, whether it is remote or immediate. Look at everything and do a proper risk analysis. It is when you are done with your risk analysis and you look at the vulnerability on ground and you now do a juxtaposition, having analyzed it, then you are able to come out to say that these actually are the true position. Then you now have a template to solve this problem. And the templates are not very difficult, my sister. One, look at what is the problem. There are people that are coming to the community to come and attack them. So what do? The state government has been able to have its own, security team. They are not armed. Why don't you have a negotiation with federal government? And federal government too should be humble enough to understand that the police, the army, the navy, the air force, the NSCDC combined together, they do not have the numerical strength at the same time to do what? To be able to attend to all the security challenges all over the country at the same time. The criminals now, they've been able to coordinate themselves to the extent that they have different cell groups all over the country, well spread all over the country. They can do what? They can organize and orchestrate coordinated attack. The village, look at what happened in this Plateau state, 17 villages within a twinkle of an eye. A lot of people are gone, more than 150 people dead, almost within 24 hours and thereabout. So why don't you involve the traditional rulers, the vigilantes, and the like, and constitute them into what you call a rural security network, so that we'll be able to do what? Be able to have a situation where these people know that, first, there is a standing army in the forest. I've said this severally, I'm already sounding like a broken record. They know their terrain, they know their forest, they know their gods, they know where to go and where not to go. They know how to assess the mountains. They know who to send to go and assess the mountains. Now, that is one major. Yes, please.
Doctor, pardon me. I mean, some of these approaches you're outlining now are part of the kinetic and non-kinetic approach the state government has said it has used over time. But these attacks continue.
Now, you see, one thing about attack is this. Attacks are always built on intelligence, on compromised intelligence. If intelligence is time-bound, and intelligence must be used. If it is not worthy of being used, it's not intelligence. Now, the question is this. Who got the intelligence and did not use it when it ought to use it? And it was an intelligence that came either at the wrong timing, or somebody felt that it was not worth being used. What punitive measure was melted to that officer or group of officers? Look, it's a product of political will. It's not as if we don't have military or security agencies that can deal with these people. You are talking of military that is adjudged as the best. Even in the continent of Africa, we have some of the best and finest soldiers and police officers in this continent. But the political will for government to be able to say enough is enough. As we speak today, have we been able to identify those that are mining gold in Zamfara and exporting those gold in Zamfara? Have we been able to identify and come to terms with the fact that in Plateau State, there is uranium? In Plateau State, have we been able to come to the fact that we have zircon there, you have kaolin there, right inside that Plateau State? Have we been able to come to terms with all this? And have we been able to identify those that are truly harnessing this with the cooperation of the locals, arrest them, prosecute them? Look, if the political class cannot do their job, for goodness sake, we don't push everything on the security agencies. It takes the political class to be able to say, clear away these people or resign. I give you 48 hours. Clear them away or resign. And you give them all the resources. You give them the backing. They will do it. But the political class as it is now, as far as I'm concerned, they are indictable.
All right, Doctor. Now, comrade, let me come to you. The Chief of Defense Staff has confirmed that the military has arrested some suspects linked to that attack. How significant will you describe this?
Sorry, I didn't get that question.
Comrade, did you hear me? All right. Now, the Chief of Defense Staff has confirmed that the military has arrested some suspects linked to that attack. So I'm asking, how significant will you describe this?
Well, if the Chief of Defense Staff says they have arrested some suspects in the attack, kudos to them. Kudos to the Nigerian military. But to me, that is not what we want to hear. What we want to hear is that the military has put in some measures in place to avert these attacks, to prevent these attacks. My sister, Nigeria, as a country, we have a lot of challenges. We need to be more proactive in our approaches. Let me give you an example. Kidnapping. Since kidnapping started, if you remember the days of, is it DC Abba Kyari? Abba Kyari will arrest kidnapping suspects and his team, Abba Kyari and his team, and they will tell you the method they use in arresting those suspects and releasing of the victims. Now, they will tell you that they track the phone number that the the kidnappers used to call this person to ask for ransom and all of that. But as we speak today, the kidnappers have advanced. They are no longer using the victim's number to call the families of the victims to demand for ransom. They have advanced. Now, if they kidnap, they will use the phone of their victims to call the family members, collect the ransom, and go scot-free. How come the military, the security agencies have not advanced to counter what the kidnappers are doing? To look for a way, to say, okay, when these kidnappers were in so bush, we have been able to identify where they are, and we have been able to arrest them and rescue the victims. Today, kidnapping has become a very serious business in Nigeria, and they do it, they go scot-free. Every community in Nigeria now is nowhere is safe. You can be, enjoying with your family in your house. Kidnappers will storm your house and kidnap and go, and nothing will happen. They will collect their ransom. Even when you go to police will still tell you, go and they need money. Pay money and save the life of your relations. Now, in North Central Development Initiative, I told you earlier that we are coming up to say enough is enough. And how do we want to say enough is enough? We have some measures we are proposing to the government that we believe can, bring these incessant killings, attacks, kidnapping, and other, forms of criminalities to an end in Nigeria. Number one, we need a national intelligence agency. As we speak today, we don't know, Nigerians don't know which agency is responsible for intelligence gathering. We have the SSS or the DSS. We have the National Intelligence Agency. We have police. We have this and that. All of them seem to be doing the same thing. But let me give you an example. In Tanzania today, since the setting up of the Tanzania National Security and Intelligence Service, NSSI or something like that, Tanzania has become one of the safest countries in Africa today. Then you talk about Kenya. After 2010, when Kenya set up the Kenyan National Intelligence Service, NIS, National Intelligence Service. Before an attack takes place, this NIS and NSI will detect, will discover, and send the information to military agencies, to the armed forces, and those in charge of arrest and whatever. And they will do everything possible to stop that attack. So we are proposing to Nigeria to look in that direction. Let us have, even if it's a civilian, like the one we're talking about in Kenya, that Kenya National Intelligence Service is a disciplined civilian agency. They don't have military, military personnel among them, but they have their offices and personnel in every region, in every state in Kenya. And so these people work day and night. They also have what they call the volunteer staff. These people, these are community, people who come to volunteer information to this intelligence agency to say, okay, so and so, I'm aware that some people are planning so and so. And that agency will now take action and contact the necessary, agencies. And before you know it, these attacks are averted. We are calling on the federal government, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to think in this direction. Let us have an intelligence gathering agency for Nigeria so that Nigerians will know which agency to hold responsible when there is intelligence, when there is failure in intelligence gathering, and which agency to commend when there is success in intelligence gathering. So we are calling on the president and members of the National Assembly to look at, even if it means passing a bill, making it as a bill, to make sure that we have an intelligence gathering agency. Then on the issue of North Central, especially in Jos, that is why we, the North Central Development Initiative, part of the measures, we are introducing to curb this killing in Plateau and in other parts of the North Central region, is that we are introducing a bill, a private bill by the special grace of God. When members of the National Assembly resume, we are introducing a private bill, the North Central Development Commission, so that this commission will be able to look at the issue of unemployment, the issue of poverty, all the issues that are around, that cause this insecurity around the North Central region. And we are happy, very, very happy that in recent times, Senator Simon Lalong came out to say that, yes, this North Central Development Commission is going to go a long way in curbing this insecurity in the North Central region. We are totally in support of that North Central Development Commission to be established. So as part of measures to curb the insecurity in North Central.
All right, fantastic. Gentlemen, at this point, let's take a break.